Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Sean, and I am here to tell you to hop on that Patreon page. We got ourselves exclusives that no one else in the world gets to check out. If you liked our discussion here, you get the full audio version, completely uncut, with a bunch of topics that we didn't have time to put in the video. We really appreciate you guys. Head on over there, get us a bit of support, and now I will stop yapping, and we'll get on with the damn discussion.
We did it!
We did it! What's going on, everybody? It's me, Sean Tank Top. We are not over at the Burlington Bar. As you can see, we are in the Avengers fucking compound, or at least House Burlington's Avenger compound. I mean, because this is, nothing like the dungeons that we're normally used to.
It's so bright in here.
It's really well lit.
Right?
This is our tax shelter.
Right.
The Patreon lighting budget.
Yeah, I know, right?
Amazing.
I love it.
Thanks, guys.
But yeah, so we're over here at your office space.
Yeah,
Scott.
Cameron & Kane LLC law firm operates out of this space.
Right here. And we're over here, and we're going to be talking about, speaking of an assault, speaking of a budget, speaking of, like, everything in the kitchen sink.
Speaking of taking a year.
Yeah. Dude, we're talking about Avengers.
Avenger time.
Avengers Infinity Endgame.
Iron Man 4.
Iron Man 4. This is a good Iron Man.
This is a great Iron Man. This is a great everybody movie.
It kind of had everybody, but we're talking about Avengers Endgame. Figure we'll just do like some general impressions and shit like that, first, and then we'll get into the nitty gritty of Thanos' ass, as I'm sure we're going to put him doing here.
Yeah. Spoiler alert.
I was really surprised that they did that. I've never seen a fan theory just be like so dead
spot
on.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I didn't need
Brolin
to know what the inside of that man's color was.
Like Josh Brolin's just out of the movie. What an easy paycheck. Let's just go down the line. Dustin, what do you got, babe? What you think about this thing?
Well, first and foremost, I think we've talked about this in other things before, where this month is just nerd overload, and especially this weekend,
the nerdpocalypse
is there's just so much. And, if this movie had come out in a non-Game of Thrones final season month, I think I would have had like an even higher level of excitement. But it just kind of snuck up on me.
Yeah,
and I feel like I wanted to be more excited about this. I mean, we've lived in this universe for like 11 years or 10 years, like 22 movies,
right?
And so like going into it, I was like, oh man, like I'm going to see all my people again, like awesome! I'm so excited about it. And so, but it took me a little bit longer than I wanted to get back into it.
To get into the group, okay,
all right. And so I think that like I feel that that's just because we are on overload. We've been a lot of shit. I mean, I'm still like, I just watched Hellboy last week. I just watched.
I'm so sorry, by the way. Dustin and I saw it. This is our slash Hellboy review. Don't.
Right. Yeah. Jenny, what do you got, girl?
I was really satisfied with how they were able to wrap everything up in a cohesive way that really made sense with what had happened previously.
Right.
It didn't feel rushed. It didn't feel forced.
Hell no, it didn't feel rushed.
Yeah.
It
was 3 hours.
But
it didn't feel forced either.
No.
So I was
No,
really
it took
happy
its
with
time.
that.
It took its time.
Man, this is a quiz you need to study for.
There's a lot.
They reference
everything.
all 22.
Every single fucking thing. That is very true.
There was a point I felt where like, maybe I could get through this whole series and like never have to watch Thor: The Dark World again. Those days are officially gone.
Yeah, we won't do a spoiler alert, but I felt like that scene where he was explaining the events of that film to the Avengers was intentionally shitting on the film, and
kind of
I
just
thought that was
catching you out a
fantastic.
little bit.
Right.
I mean, the most impressive thing I think, and this is why it justified its runtime, was just the attention that every character got.
Yeah.
Every character, you could almost. No, I wouldn't say you could isolate everyone and then like everyone had their own mini movie within the movie because there was a lot of cross pollination.
Right.
I mean, they are the Avengers, and I definitely. And then once we get into the second act and shit starts getting wiggity, I don't know what else to describe it. It was some wiggity bullshit.
Yeah,
but it was so well done and well executed. I do have to like go like Star Trek nerd switch. I gotta flip that switch on. I feel like they broke their own rules a few times.
You can't think about that in a movie like this.
Well, I did so soon.
Right. but that was ticking a couple of those boxes.
Really not toward the end. I thought it kind of held up to the end, till the end, but then by the end, it's like this pack mule with like 800 pounds of shit on it, like the legs are shaking. but they
the pots and pans clanging outside.
clanging, yeah. But they did such a good job.
Man, this movie's kooky.
Yeah,
This is a kooky ass flick, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
man.
that's what I'm saying. Like, I think it's really great. I think it's awesome. But like, this is like you were saying before, kind of to your point, where it's just like it really helps to have seen every fucking movie. I mean, like to not really skip anything.
Yeah.
I thought, I mean, like, and it also slowed down, like, to an appropriate amount. I think, like, that, there's, like, the first, like, I'd say half hour of the film, it's very meditative and very kind of, like, and very slow and kind of really sets up where everybody's at and stuff like that. They put the work in. I'd say first and foremost, from the beginning to the end, it's not a big CGI fuckfest.
Right.
It's about they're focused on the characters as we know as people, and that's kind of why, in large part, the MCU's been pretty successful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The pacing
and this is kind of the same thing.
Works, I think, because within its own 3-act structure, each act has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Almost it feels like.
Yeah.
Compositionally remarkable.
Yeah,
really, when
pretty
you
crazy.
think about it. I mean,
Pretty
we've got a
crazy.
cast of 100+ recognizable, identifiable characters,
Seems like it.
and they managed to make it coherent. You know what I mean?
Weaved it in there.
Well,
All right,
they
last
started-
one. No pressure.
Yeah.
What you got,
I
kid?
mean, first I gotta call my therapist. Like,
All
that
right.
was a lot. No, but I mean, like, it's been leading up like 11 years.
Uh-huh.
I mean, Marvel has taken like their care in crafting all these characters, and like this is the culmination of all that. And I thought it was great.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, you came prepared to show everybody.
Oh my god.
She's got the
Well,
fucking.
no, I knew like Never mind. I'm not gonna say anything.
Not yet.
No.
So you liked it, and we can get into spoilers.
Yes.
All right. Get
Yeah.
the fuck out of here. Go to this timestamp if you want to see it. Even though, honestly, you're. Right.
There we go.
I mean, like, you're in the tank for these fucking movies anyway. It's not like anybody who's had like, who had like a passing interest in Marvel and have seen them. It's like, oh, I'm not gonna go see Endgame.
The overlap
You know what
of
I
like
mean?
Sean
Can
Taylor.
I go see
Marvel
Endgame? Like, I haven't really seen it.
Could you
Can I
watch
go-
this without having seen any other Marvel movie?
If you're,
You're
probably like a
Maybe
weird person who like eats
I don't
with their
think so.
hands.
Well, that's very similar to some of the people that are doing like the Game of Thrones thing, where they're just like, what like 6 episodes can I watch and I'll fucking know what's going on?
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, fuck you, dude.
I'm always
Do
like,
you
if
goddamn-
I ever
go
get that
home and
question-
study. Are you-
6 episodes.
Yeah, what's 6 episodes?
Seriously.
Terror at 20,000 feet.
We're also doing Game of Thrones spoilers too.
Six
by the way. Let's get into it. Like they kind of I will say this: this film routinely figured out ways to like kind of surprise me, like a good amount, and to the point where like, oh, I don't know where this is going.
Yeah.
I don't quite know, because like.
I felt the opposite almost.
Really? Okay, I
Where
don't know.
it was almost the opposite of like I would say Last Jedi syndrome, where like there's the the buzz.
It was really weird when Captain Phasma showed up.
Yeah, right.
Like, it was
Because
just like,
that
you show up for 5 movies in another person's
there's
movie?
that
Wow.
buzz term of subverting expectations.
Right.
And what the Russos did, we're like, no.
We're gonna give it to
People,
you.
people want to see Captain America wield Mjolnir.
Right.
People want to see, people don't know they want to see Spider-Man ride a Pegasus, but they're gonna love it. They're gonna fucking love it.
That
Yeah.
was what I was saying. That was kind of what I meant about kookiness from before.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
it was kind of like some kookiness where I wasn't invested in, or not as invested in Aquaman. Aquaman is wild. Aquaman
Yeah.
has like crab people that sound like Wilford Brimley, and like there's a fucking
Octopus
octopus
who plays the drums.
playing the
Yeah,
drums
so
and
good.
like all this shit. And, like it is wild. Lord of the Rings.
You sound like Stefan from SNL right now.
Yeah.
Aquaman is the hottest.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
8-legged Spider-Man who's in kill mode.
Finally.
Which is
Finally.
amazing.
That joke gets paid off.
Because it's great, and like, and it's just like killing these mutant dogs or whatever the fuck's going on, and then like gets swooped up by a unicorn and then carried off, and then like Don Cheadle in a mech suit comes over.
It's just like one of those things where it sounds like I'm going on like a magic mushroom, like Vision Quest type
thing.
Yeah.
Where I'm just like, so what you see, man?
Yeah.
It's like, well, let me tell you one thing here.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's kind of like what that movie made me feel like at a certain point where I'm like, oh my god, I'm watching this happen
It's like
right
spectacle.
I think we're
now.
definitely
Yeah.
listening to us talk. I'm definitely remembering things we've said last year
Yeah.
about Infinity War, but now it's like, yeah, Infinity War can go fuck itself.
I think
Is it better than Infinity War? Or is it just like kind of like is it?
Yeah.
Would you say so?
Yeah, it's 'cause
Yeah.
it's more of a
Yeah.
character study. I mean, yeah. If anyone thought maybe like this would be Thanos' movie, it's like no, you got your Thanos
Right.
movie.
Yeah.
Infinity War was your Thanos movie. This is your Avengers Core 6.
Yes.
and
Yes.
featuring some other
But
people.
I will say this: to me, that my heroes of the movie were actually not, Robert Downey Jr. and his like exit. We thought it was going to be Captain Marvel. We thought Captain Marvel was this like end all be all cosmic being.
I didn't
That's
think
the
that for
only,
a second.
That's the only. Well, they were setting it up.
did,
She's
yeah.
the next person to lead the the MCU. Ant-Man. Ant-Man. Holy shit, Paul Rudd. If you had told me Paul Rudd would be the greatest superhero of all time,
It's like the
I would be like,
galvanized-
that's crazy talk.
that he was like
But
the galvanizing
He was the guy
force.
that really brought it full circle,
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
made all of this possible. He brought them
Right.
into the quantum realm, and he was like so present. He was like every bit as important as like Thor or all the other characters in this
May I
movie.
make a suggestion, Dustin? A lot of times you have lenses that you intend the audience to associate themselves with as a character in a movie. And the scene where he's seated outside of the Avengers headquarters and the spaceship blows the taco out of his hand and like aliens walk past and insult him, but then the Hulk hands him a replacement taco. He's the human being in this super universe.
Yeah,
and
he's us.
Yeah, he anchors
Right,
the film really
yeah.
he
well.
thought his bullshit was weird.
Oh, God. What's up, regular size man?
I do kind of like the fact that they also didn't really feel like wasting time and jettison some things like, oh yeah, we have Professor Hulk.
Yeah, I thought that was such a smart
just
decision.
jumped
I
right
really
to it.
It's just like
liked
fuck
that.
it, like whatever. Like we're accepting crazy things,
Yeah.
right? Like already.
You give yourselves that creative breath when you cut to black and say 5 years
Oh,
that was-
later.
that was really
the whole
smart.
audience was like,
Into it.
Yeah.
That was really
Yeah.
smart. That was
Yeah.
really smart. It kind of gives you license to just move some stuff around.
move pieces around.
One of the
Yeah.
beauties of comic books is that you're able to do fantastical, bizarro things, and you're like, well, let's see where this is going.
Yeah, and I really think this is definitely like the culmination. I think Mark Ruffalo has teased for the last several years that like Hulk is getting his trilogy within movies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and so it's like
like
Ragnarok was part 1. It's all Hulk, very little Banner.
Yeah.
Infinity War, very little Hulk, a lot of Banner, and then
Right.
now we get the Marriage.
We have like a Hulk movie turducken.
yeah.
Kind of like
I'll say you're right that this is definitely, you see Hulk more in this, but they capture these mannerisms of Mark Ruffalo.
Oh, we got Gollum.
Oh, that.
We got Gollum. Dude.
It's
That's
the same thing.
that.
It's the same thing they've been doing. It's just different because now he's playing it different.
I know.
It's
I
like
loved it. I thought it was great.
instead of going like
Yeah.
he's like
So we got jumping 5 years. We get Professor Hulk, and we get the greatest character of all,
Thor.
Thick Thor.
No! Oh my god!
Oh, my
What did you think,
Lord.
what did you think about that
Yeah.
when you first saw him on screen? What was your first impression of that shit?
Because that's what any of us would have done in that situation.
Sure, it's very
I mean,
human.
well, that's so much.
Wait, that's what some of us do now.
You introduce you to a scene in this movie, and there's like 3 things to look at, and you got to kind of like circle back until you focus on Thor's badass,
Right.
And then, like, because immediately I'm like, Korg is alive.
Yeah,
like
like,
Korg, yeah.
Right. And again, they're laying it all
And
down.
how
Also,
sad is that? That 5 years in the future they're playing Fortnite.
Still, which is like Fortnite is like done and gone. Like all the kids are just like fuck this.
They're on
shit.
like
I'm
Five
not-
Night now.
Yeah,
right.
right. Well, no, and I'm so glad they just said. I was just like, if the Hulk, if Thor does that dance. If he
Cancel.
flosses, I will fucking walk out of this shit. We also got like fucking Thor like the Big Lebowski. We got like the dude
yeah.
yeah. I was literally
sweater,
the sweater and everything. Where he just like he was literally like, yeah, that's my new like axe hammer. Really ties the room together. You know?
I was like, is this 5 years later for Thor, or is this 5 years later for me? This is a cautionary tale.
Like, all right, we got to go back in time. We got to get all the in 2012, 13, and 14, or whatever the fuck it is. And you're just like, far out. Yeah. Like, that's what I was waiting to happen. I mean, it was sick, dude.
Yeah.
Like, and now I can realistically do a Thor cosplay, which is
right.
great.
Yeah.
He wiped out 50% of all living creatures.
This is a bummer, man. That's a bummer.
And he definitely listens to Fish now.
Right? No shit.
He's into jam bands.
Yeah.
Speaking of kookiness, they get going with like this time travel shit.
I know, yeah.
What the fuck was all that about?
That was crazy. I really loved it. In the middle is actually like at the point where I thought, oh wow, this is like this cinematic equivalent of like Greek mythology. Like for the past 11 years, they've crafted like these huge like heroes.
Yeah.
And like this is like the Homer's Odyssey of cinema.
Sure, that's fair.
I
Like,
want to
it's
follow
very
up
good.
on that. I think that the time travel plot device is useful to undo the snap and everything.
Sure.
But for the three main heroes of Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor,
Yeah.
they literally got to interact with a version of themselves or their past identity.
Yeah.
And then you as the audience observe them seeing the difference between who they were and who they are.
Right.
Yeah.
And that it's a very stark juxtaposition and a great way to illustrate the character development that we've seen.
Yeah.
Obviously, time travel makes these types of comparisons very easy,
Right.
But they didn't miss the opportunity.
And they
Right.
all
And it
got
was effective. You got like Rene Russo's like
they all got
everybody,
to
Yeah.
meet the person who is kind of in a way like the thing, either the person that set them on their course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thor got to talk to his mom. Tony got to talk to his dad, and then the interesting one was that the only one who didn't have a conversation was Steve. But we see how
he
that
got it.
we see how he gets his little reward.
You trust me? I do.
What do we think about where we took there's the big two. The big two that are gone.
Big two what?
That are gone. The big two characters that are gone now. As far as Cap and Tony.
I've been saving this for the homies.
Anyway, but so what did we think?
LaCroix.
Cheers, y'all. What do we think about like the closing on these two of the cornerstones?
Yeah, two thumbs way up.
Right?
Satisfying as hell.
I don't want to talk too much.
What's
about
that?
Satisfying as hell.
Yeah.
Very satisfying.
Sad, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, with all right, we're saying it right. We're saying their names.
Yeah.
Okay, with Tony's
When he
death,
died.
that was satisfying as fuck to have him be like, "I'm Iron Man." You know,
That was
that was one of the best callbacks ever. But then, like, goddamn, Black Widow, that one hurt.
That one hurt.
It felt avoidable. Like, all right, I know we're like serious film critics, but like, can I gotta get into roast mode a little bit. Could fucking Nebula have just at least elaborated a little bit on what they were going into?
Right.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know, like,
Jesus.
okay, so for the mission to
Could have had a plan,
Vormir,
right? Yeah.
for the mission to Vormir, I'm gonna take Clint, Black Widow, this crazy cat lady we found, and her cat. Then we're gonna have her throw the cat over the thing, and we're gonna get the stone, and then this Avenger will still get to live.
Right,
Yeah.
it's like your friend who like gives you like the route to take to like get to the show, like
Yeah.
the concert, and they don't tell you that there's a bunch of tolls. That you
I
have
mean,
to
it's
pay.
the thing you love the most. They could have gotten a guy they could have found a coin collector to like
Yeah.
toss his coin collection over the
But that's kind of
thing, and
my
they would have
problem
gotten the
with that
stone.
scene was like, is the thing that she loved the most, like, what was her thing? Was it her
Well,
friend?
It was what Hawkeye loved the most.
So
And
that's the
what's that?
idea.
Well, that was the idea, but then, like, but what did she actually give up aside from her life?
Right.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't think that
it doesn't work as a one-to-one with Thanos.
That was a weird. That was also just a weird scene where they're just like literally having like the Suicide Olympics of just like trying, trying to kill each other in like this weird way and then stopping each other. Like I was just like, what? Why? This is strange.
Yeah,
like this
no.
just needs to happen.
Let me commit suicide first.
Right.
Right. No, I'm going. Like it's like I'm Spartacus, but it's like I want to die.
Alternate take. Okay, so she hits the pavement, blood everywhere. Okay, nothing happens, and then Hawkeye's like, and then he throws his quiver over, and then he's like, "Oh, right, arrows." I love arrows. I'm arrow guy.
That would have been. Do you think ScarJo? She's just ready to just like
and good.
She's
and
ready.
awesome.
She's ready to be done. I get my solo movie.
Right.
I maybe make my mark. Do my little fucking techno spy thriller type thing. I'm assuming.
And plus,
and then
maybe, yeah.
and then go out.
Going back to character too, Black Willow.
Black Willow. Willow. Oh my God! Didn't you get Matt Mardigan shows up in the movie?
That's a movie I would watch.
Dude, Val Kilmer rides in drag, like when he's like all dressed up in the middle of that thing. That'd be great.
Davison on
The
that.
way, oh my God, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Willow.
You idiot!
I think that if you look at Black Widow's character, she is kind of a spy without allegiance, without a home, without loyalty. It is, I think, simple but poignant to have her die for others because she has a loyalty.
For
she
the
has
one,
an allegiance.
it was
Yeah.
for Clint Moore in the fact that like you are, because she's the one.
She's a single agent now, baby.
Yeah, no. If ever after everyone came back to life and there was just the like last minute pondering of like why do we ultimately think she did it, Groot's voice could have deepened to Vin Diesel tone and been like, family.
And apparently, you got to have a lady sacrifice herself in a fucking Avengers movie now to keep things going because it was I mean
it would have derailed.
A lady is getting thrown off this cliff. With Kevin Feige, you monster.
It would have derailed the emotional tension of like Clint telling everybody that she died, but like when he's like, well, why don't you go over there talk to the red guy? Like I just wanted Steve to be like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I
did think that he's like, wait.
That would have derailed. They were there for
It
Black
would've been too much of a
Widow.
beat. Yeah, for sure.
I have a question about plot I'd like to ask you guys. Okay, so Endgame, probably at the beginning of it, your conception of what's going to happen is that like they go beat up Thanos, right? They're mad, and then they go get the thing that they want from the bad guy. They beat him up and they get the stones, and that's like the first act of the film.
Yeah.
I love that it completely undercuts revenge as the basis for the film. The film is about restoration.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Thanos dies and no one fucking
They
cares.
cut his fucking head off.
I love how unheroic it was. It was a B&E. It was like they kicked his door down.
Because that wasn't the point.
Right.
The point was getting their friends back, and that was the real goal.
What is it? It was gross.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
You didn't like it?
No, I think he looked disgusting. Like,
What? Oh yeah, he kind of looked like Jorah Mormont with a little bit of grayscale on him.
Yeah.
And then it said like Samuel Tarlo. It's like, could you bite down on something?
Yeah, they did because it was a bit unclear in Infinity War, but now we know for a fact. Like, man, using those stones takes a lot out of you.
Yeah,
it takes the wind right out of you.
Yeah, for sure. We had three people. We had three people.
We had 3 or 4 snaps in this movie.
Yeah, I didn't realize when you snap, it just like comes like you have to think of something nice.
I was thinking about what the logistics of that are.
Like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
What did you think of, Rick?
What did you write? That's amazing.
I tried to think of the most beautiful, harmless thing that I could.
Because it seems to respond to it seems to be like I thought of an earlier line which has nothing to do with the stones, but just kind of a way to explain how some shit in Marvel land could work. Where where when Peter first gets the Iron Spider suit and he's all like, this thing is really intuitive, and like the gear in this world just it knows what you want,
It just works.
and it's gonna help you get to it. If I was Tony, I'd be like, make Thanos' army disappear. Then make his dick and balls real small. Fuck him. Like I would have been like slowly bleed to death.
His entire army just turned into a bunch of small dick and balls. Like,
what if they all turn into bubbles?
Right?
Callback
for sure.
Yeah.
Again, this was just like it was more of a grounded story. It was had a lot more gravitas because it had a smaller cast to work with.
Yeah, true.
And
real tight cast.
Yeah, right. And I thought that they all did a really fucking good job. I thought it was one of those ones where everybody you could tell it's the last one.
Yeah.
And they kind of were all going for it. Even if I wasn't necessarily like totally invested in it, I was just like, oh man, ScarJo's doing a really good job.
Yeah.
Oh man, Chris Evans is doing a really good job.
Like, what was your holy shit moment? Like that. I yelled fuck really loud in a theater. Probably. Really loud.
We just do that in general.
We do. And when Cap picks up the hammer and starts turns full Thor, throwing
that was
lightning.
amazing.
And
that
it was
pretty
like
fucking cool.
I couldn't help myself.
And that was a really awesome little callback to. I remember somebody. I can't remember.
I knew it. Like
Right.
that was awesome when you said that.
Right,
line.
and that was a great callback because it confirms that cute little moment where they're all trying to pick up the hammer, and Cap just doesn't do it because he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to embarrass his
I don't think that he's not trying.
He wasn't worthy then.
Yeah.
You think so?
I think the idea
He
is
wasn't
further
worthy then?
development.
He wasn't worthy then.
He was more what?
He was getting there. He obviously
I
made it
don't know,
nudge,
man.
which is more than anybody. But
I sort of like I kind of like it's a really cute idea. It was like I don't want to embarrass him.
I mean,
It's a cute idea.
At what point? I mean, at what point is like? At what point is Thor even worthy? Because remember in the first movie,
that was the
he
big
couldn't
gap
pick it up
in the first one.
But then in this movie,
He's like ripping beers.
He's been kind of a fuckhead the entire time.
Yes, he's like the dude. He's just like
He was great in Ragnarok, but I mean, like, I don't feel like he should have been able to like lift his own hammer in this movie.
Did anybody feel that because they did a cutaway for a second, you see the hammer come flying across? Did anybody feel that it would have been Captain Marvel?
No.
I
thought
like,
for sure
well,
it was Steve Rogers.
I knew it was gonna be Steve, but there was a moment I'm like,
maybe that would have been, but she hasn't earned that yet.
She hasn't.
She hasn't earned that yet.
It's also not
met her.
observably a perfectly moral person.
Also,
you know what I mean?
Also, barely in this movie.
Which I thought was kind of, which I thought that was a smart move. Like I think that to have her just be like to just go in and just be able to body fucking Thanos.
They also don't know
like would be kind of
Thanos' move when she could and did almost get the glove. I loved his little move of like, oh, I'm just gonna take the purple one out. Pew! You know,
that
was cool.
No, that was cute. Okay,
not
you're talking about holy shit moments. One for me was, and it's very astute. They gave a lot to Cap. They gave a lot of holy shit moments to Cap and Tony. Because they're, but but like they gave a bunch of them when they recreated the fucking scene in the elevator from Winter Soldier.
I was dying. Shot for shot. I went, and they basically got like every extra.
They got everybody back.
Like
over.
that one guy who's not Rumlow, but like even like
they had like
Rumlow himself is a henchman, but he had a henchman.
Right. Yeah.
They even got that guy.
Yeah,
back.
they're just like, all right, hey Frank Grillo, stop doing Purge movies and come over and check this out. You know, like
when that scene lit up, I leaned over to Steve in the theater and I said, "Before we get started,
right?
Everybody want to get
right?" And then but then he did that.
That got one of the biggest applauses.
Yeah,
good.
And again, because it was fucking clever. It was cute. It was really good. That was a big one.
If I had to pick a favorite,
me and Mary, we just like started clapping.
If I had to pick a favorite sequence in the whole film, it was just the time heist, specifically the Battle of New York chapter of it. Sure. I loved when they showed how they got Loki down, and they were all like this, and then you see the second after, and Tony Stark is like, all right, we're done posing, let's get him out of here. Like,
that was great.
You see him get that weird fucking, I don't know, like,
and they talk
Mortal
about
Kombat fucking mask,
and then like them dealing with the government. They're like, "What are you doing?" They're like, "We're gonna get lunch, and then we're gonna take him to Asgard."
I would say that's another thing. They brought every motherfucker in here. Like
this is
Natalie Portman is in this film.
Natalie Portman.
I think that was literally footage from Dark World.
That's what I said to Steve.
They dropped Rocket into it.
They got Bob Redford and they got Bob in for it.
Yeah.
Because how much of a comedic Michael Douglas,
Renee Russo got to have a nice.
Yeah.
This is apparently. I was reading. This is the movie Redford says he's retiring on. This is his last film.
I mean, in a way, this is a gigantic cinematic event.
Yeah.
So fine.
Yeah.
Better than Raul Julia in Street Fighter.
I guess you didn't see that, did you?
Or Sean Connery in the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. That's a dark way to go out. I'll go to this shitty movie made by the guy who made the first Blade.
Also, who was the kid that they?
The kid from Iron Man 3.
Like
the kid from Iron Man 3. That was the kid from Iron Man 3.
Remember the kid from Iron Man 3?
All grown up.
I don't remember the kid from Iron Man 3.
Neither did anybody else, because I remember that was at the end of Cap's. It kept moving. I remember that was me. Literally, me and you were just like, Mary just goes, who the fuck's that?
I recognized it. I knew it was him because
extras in the back.
Because that's one of those weird guys who like goes to funerals to people that he's not.
right.
Harold and Maude.
He's Harold and Maude. The Harold and Maude reference.
Sing out, and if you want to be free.
He's definitely, because I know he doesn't stick out. He sticks out to me because that's my all-time favorite Tony Stark moment is when Iron Man calls a child a pussy to his face. You don't forget that.
Right.
And so I was like, oh shit, it's Pussy Kid.
Right.
Pussy
Pussy
From
Kid.
Shane Black's Iron Man 3.
Oh my god.
We were talking about goodbyes a second ago, and Natasha, kind of the end of her arc, right? I'm not the world's biggest Iron Man fan, but I thought this was an extremely compelling story.
They got it.
I think
was
they
a
nailed
mess.
it like completely. It was
You were a
very
mess?
good.
Yeah, no,
You were a
because
mess.
I had not drank anything all day in preparation for
For the
tonight.
pee, for the
and
not
then
having
I
to
cried
pee.
for 3 hours.
fine.
So I feel so dehydrated.
Right.
I feel,
Making up for it.
and I was like,
And another prerequisite is to give Tom Holland a very sweet, forlorn, speech at the end. Because, hey, kid, you got it. You can do it. You can stick the landing on this shit. And it worked again. He got it again.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Where 90% of the speech is, Mr. Stark, Mr. Stark, Mr. Stark, Mr.
Yeah,
Stark.
it's true. It's true.
It's from a completely
But it
different
was just like-
angle.
Yeah.
and he didn't
Right.
say shit
It worked.
to him.
What's that?
I loved it. I thought it was great.
Yeah, no. I mean, Peter's having big emotion, like, oh my god. And then Tony just doesn't say
He
shit.
didn't say shit to him. He just kind of just like.
Well, I think the man was in the process of
I
dying.
know.
No,
but,
yeah.
but it was that was good. But
I have a
good
comment.
death scene. Good death scene.
I
yeah.
thought all
Really
of Tony
great.
Stark in this film
He
was
is.
awesome.
I mean, he
loved
is a
it.
part of. He is now, and he will be. And I just know that. Marvel's really excited not to have to spend $100 million every fucking movie
Every
they
single
put him
time.
in.
Yeah.
And I thought that he did a really great job. He looked emaciated. He looked like fucking.
Oh, that
Dallas,
intro. The intro was dope.
Dallas Buyers Club.
Wow.
Dallas Buyers Club. but it-
Saudi Buyers Club. That was good. That was
You got
good.
notes from Christian Bale and the
Yeah.
Machinist.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
Right.
this
Yeah.
man looks really gone.
Yeah.
One of the highlights of this film for me, and I don't think these are films that I really cared on their acting necessarily, but when Tony Stark comes back from outer space and berates anyone around him, you know what I mean, for 5 straight minutes, I thought was fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that Robert Downey Jr. did an excellent job,
Yeah.
in portraying that extremely, completely broken, rattled, acerbic, rude, sarcastic, jabbing,
Oh shit. This is exactly what we were talking about.
Oh my God, they're doing it! That's the opening of the movie. Did I not call that shit though?
Yeah, you did.
It was just like that. That's the opening thing. It's gonna be like, oh, good job there, Slugger. Done.
Yeah.
I mean,
Loved it. I
Awesome.
thought it was
It was
fantastic.
great.
Yeah, we didn't even see dust or anything. It
Right.
was done
Yeah,
very
no,
classy. It was like
Yeah.
it was like they got raptured almost.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
The snapshot.
the snapshot.
All right, I totally forgot about that.
Other scenes that I really liked in this film. So I really love that shot of Cap walking into Thanos' army where he knows he's going to lose.
It's just one
and
guy.
He doesn't
And
care.
that
That is Captain America in a nutshell. Thank you, Steve Rogers.
Oh my god.
But the thing that really just I felt so much joy was when you hear Sam being on your left, and you turn around and it's all
Yeah.
you hear.
That would
That's
be
every
yeah.
hero you ever wanted to see.
That's the right.
That's the
Dustin
moment.
Yells, that's the Dustin yells fucking theater moment.
Yeah.
And that was true. And I was doing the
myself.
thing where I was I'm pounding my
ready.
leg. I'm just
Yeah.
oh my God.
I got a question for you guys. Within that scene, there becomes this sub-action plot where the Gauntlet has to get to the van, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
everything that's
Yeah.
going on. It felt like there was a really great linear line of assistances that were going on, right?
Yes, yeah.
And you saw that teamwork really makes the dream work here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did that
When that scene first started, I was like, "Oh my god!" It was kind of overwhelming.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
with that, the Gauntlet going towards them,
Sure.
it created a more linear structure, and it
Yeah.
really helped me stay in the scene.
Oh, well, I think
Yeah,
that's
I
smart
agree with
because
that
it's because it's just this big maddening ball of
Yeah.
CGI fuck
unrelatable,
Yeah.
incomprehensible.
But by creating that through line of we have to accomplish this makes it
And
way
they're
more
also
compelling.
and they never fail to, in the most seemingly innocuous moments, give you callbacks and payoffs. Remember, think way back to Civil War. Hawkeye is staring down Black Panther. He says, "Hey, I'm Clint." Black Panther says, "I don't care."
yeah.
This time around, he tosses the gauntlet and says, "Clint,
Yep.
That's
That whole scene is talking about the handoff of the entire cinematic universe.
Yeah, sure.
Because you notice, like, they're like, oh, she's not alone. And they basically, every female character
Yeah.
just pops up out of nowhere, just to like, right? Yeah.
What do you think about that one, Jen?
I teared up. I was like, yes, girl power.
Yeah.
I mean, it was every single one.
Yeah,
it was all of them,
good.
right?
Amazing.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the deleted scene where Black Panther's like, well, I was going to jump in. Like,
I was going to say, it was like the largest game of hot potato ever.
Yeah. You know who I was on the super dead list here? The Vision is gotta be dead.
Oh, he's so dead.
He's
Gone.
done, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not coming back.
Loki's gone.
What about
too,
Loki?
right?
Do you
Loki
think
exists in an alternate universe now because he fucked off with the Space Stone.
He did. Yeah.
That's how they get. That's how they get the TV show.
I actually didn't put
That's
that
how they get the
together.
TV show.
Yeah,
Can I get a little Star Trekky for a second? They broke their own rules. They broke their own rule at the very end with Steve's comeback. They said that any actions we cause in the past are going to create a branching timeline. But when Steve goes back, first of all, he goes back with a suitcase and a hammer. Somehow manages to get to Asgard. Somehow manages to get to Volmir and all these planets, and then get back in time to marry Peggy. But then he then comes back. By that logic, Nebula shooting Nebula would have negated her own existence.
Yeah.
They fucked up their own rules.
You're right, but there are no coherent rules for time travel. I think this film does a really good job of just being like, quantum.
They
Don't worry
spent
about it.
a solid amount of time explaining that this is... They had the whole Back to the Future. They're like, this is not Back to the Future. If anything, this is Dragon Ball Z.
They literally mentioned Back to the Future.
Yeah, that was pretty
several
funny.
times
Yeah.
Right.
in this movie.
And what is it when they're naming all the films with time travel, like Bill and Ted's Excellent
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, yeah.
And he's like,
Hot
Die
Tub
Hard.
Time
It's like,
Machine.
no.
Hot
not
Tub
Die
Time
Hard.
Machine.
Yeah.
Hot Tub Time
Yeah.
Man, when you thought, like, you have a movie that had a big Professor Green man, like, who's running around, along with, like, unicorns and a rock monster with a little slug guy, and like, and the dude who is a god, and then it ends on this lovely dance with what's that, with that Kitty Callan song?
Yeah.
It's been a long time. I was like, holy fuck, like the balls, because normally what you would do in a movie like this is you say something, and then the heroic theme, the Alan Silvester's theme comes up. Dun, 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 dun,
I
dun,
am
dun.
Aquaman.
Right. Yeah, drink that whiskey. Yeah. It was just such a lovely, and they let that music play.
And it pays, and it's 22 movies later. Steve gets to have his dance.
He gets to have his dance, and I thought that would we kind of talked about everybody else. Cap send off. About as good as I think that you could make it.
Yeah. I enjoyed it immensely. Right. I think that Captain America is not a particularly complicated character, but I think that he's a very rewarding character in some ways. And this film both affirms that the pursuit of moral righteousness is a good thing. He's proven to be worthy, and he uses that in a positive way to help people.
In a super fucking badass.
Yeah, in a really badass way. And secondly, he remains steadfastly committed to his principles throughout the entirety of it. Mm-hmm. He will not back down from a fight, even if he's going to lose. He doesn't care.
I don't know, Chris Evans looks like a sweet old man.
Is he just this super strong old guy?
Yeah.
Now?
I like that. Yeah. That's also scary too, though.
Because he looks like Clint Eastwood circa now, and I just imagine him just like at the bingo, like that's bullshit. I had bingo on the table. Just flips.
I thought he looked great. I mean, it's just to me. A simple character is a fulfilling end.
Totally, absolutely.
Yeah, right, absolutely.
Another character I thought had a fitting end, and was, we're talking about truths being laid bare. I thought this was a great send off for Thanos as well.
Yeah, I agree.
I thought because there was the Infinity War spends 29 minutes of screen time of Thanos being like, "This is why I think I'm right." There's the old adage, which is as true as the day is long, never shit a shitter. Who's the first character to call him out? Loki, as he's being choked to death, says, you will never be a god.
Right, yeah.
And he can say it's for the betterment of the universe. Right. He has all these justifications as to why he's the good guy. Mm-hmm. And then when he finally gets it all stripped away at the end, he's like, I'm just gonna make a new universe where they're
right,
grateful, and then it instantly made me think of Loki. Like, wow, Loki called it in the first scene of the last movie.
Right.
Yeah.
How exciting is it that we lived in this moment where somebody was able to architect a plan, and then somebody was like, yeah, we'll let you make enough films for the next 10 years that will somehow be connected.
Yeah.
And I mean, this has never been done before.
Yeah.
Never in the history of cinema.
It's wild.
Have they connected 22 movies in a coherent, singular storyline?
Yeah.
I mean, this movie...
They waited.
No.
Yeah.
They've never said Avengers Assemble. They kept dodging it.
That moment.
It was wild, man.
It's amazing. It's so brilliant that they gave that once they realized what they could do, that they took their time and did it.
Sure.
I agree.
That is risky, and it paid off immensely.
I think at the top of this, I said that this is a type of new composition for cinema, and I really feel like we're kind of watching the culmination of the first draft of how you write multi-installation cinematic movements.
It's a big old TV show.
Yeah.
It's a big old fucking TV show.
It's going to be a college course in the future, like in film school.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not already now.
Yeah, for sure.
I hope I'm not being too radical by theorizing that maybe it's just a comic book.
Well, yeah,
that's true.
That's
true.
No, it is.
Well, I think it's the first time that's being laid to bear. Because that's the other thing about Infinity War and this one. It's like this just feels like comic book shit sweeps in.
Yeah.
You make references to stuff from before because you're a dedicated fan who's been reading all the issues, and you pick up on that little thing. You pick up on that little ding here and that
it's
little joke here,
remarkably
whatever it was.
rewarding.
Yeah, like
and
then like the Clint and Black Panther things.
Yeah.
So they can be large
Little.
and they can be
Like,
tiny ones are the most rewarding.
Just
Wow.
technology has finally caught up and allowed it to be able to come to a big screen and tell a story. And you have screenwriters that are knowledgeable and reverent enough of the material to be able to do that.
This is piloted by Disney, who has the resources.
Our new overlords.
Yeah, well, I'm not all about media consolidation.
No.
But I'm just saying they have the resources and the vision to do this type of project. I don't think that necessarily has always been the case in Hollywood. I don't think anyone could put a decade-long bet on the table. And say, I'm going to go with this.
Yeah, for sure.
And nobody can since then because we see how greatly it's working out for every other franchise.
That's true. It's hard. You can't.
All the Star Wars stories, Shell,
Lightning
DC. We're a universe, but we're not a universe.
Right. It's because of the Russo brothers, who fucking from the Winter Soldier to this. Every single time they've fucking been like they lob a ball at you. Out of the park, and pretty much, and
they're 4 for 4.
Yeah, and that's fucking crazy. And so, but the other thing is because they come from a background of comedy, and as comedians know, it's about exploring possibilities from a writer's mind. That's how you get a great joke. You take things to crazy extremes, maybe bring them back a little bit, and that's kind of what these guys were doing with this movie. It's like, hey, let's go in here, let's do a little callback to Winter Soldier. Hey, let's do that. Let's talk to Renee Russo for a little bit. Hey, let's get over here and let's do all this other shit. Like. It kind of felt like that bedrock of like that kind of ethic as far as like crafting a story that's interconnected. They were these motherfuckers from TV. Joss Whedon did it with the first two, to varying results from them. But then they've done it like amazingly well.
Sure.
Like,
They did the opposite of what Whedon did with Ultron, where instead of just setting up 8 million things, they closed. They started
to close down shit. Right. For sure.
Yeah, the only thing I felt this was setting up was Guardians 3 featuring Thor.
Yeah,
which I'm all about. Yeah. I was very happy about that. I'm with it.
Kind of hope he stays fat.
I was joking with these guys when we were doing the podcast about like, man, I'm excited, but I can't wait to be done. I'm officially done with the Marvel universe. Except for Spider-Man Far From Home, the Black Widow movie, Guardians of the Galaxy. Other than that, I am done.
You're out. Done. Final thoughts. Fucking go see it, right?
I got a short final thought on this.
What you got?
I think that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is the first to master intertextual serial movie writing. It's really incredible how referential to itself it is and how it kind of weaves into this broader pattern. And I think that across that pattern, what has carried all these films is a focus on character, especially the main character of each of these films. I'm 33 years old, and I find these films bizarrely satisfying.
No, so as a child, going to a young adult, like what would final thoughts. What
As
has
a-
this been like for
As a
you?
real life teen, I'm gonna say. Well, no, it's been going on for 11 years. I'm 18. That's more than half my life. And you know, I mean, if you've gone to see more than like 5 Marvel movies, go see this.
Sure.
Yeah, but no, I mean, I really, really loved it. If you know, I mean, dollars to donuts, you probably know someone who's connected to these characters.
Yeah. Right.
Did you learn that from Steve?
Maybe. But yeah, no, I mean, it was great. I loved it. It was emotionally tied up loose ends, you know, for me. It tied up the whole saga.
So, can I ask you a question? Do you feel respected by the MCU films as a fan?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
They're like,
I mean,
when they're bad, they still kind of care about you as the audience. They're
Right,
trying to
right.
give you
Yeah.
something. You know?
yeah, as a DC fan, I feel like they're like, keep your mouth open so we could spit in it. You
Yeah.
I took her to go see the first event.
Okay.
So yeah.
And then you caught up on back.
Yeah, and then I went Iron Man. You know,
Yeah, and then
after.
then we started going into every Avengers movie that's come out since 2012.
Yeah.
We've gone to see it.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging out with you guys. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys.
Yeah, I feel
When you're done the
great.
pipe,
Let's
man.
get together.